Hello, second channel fans. I'm making this video specifically because on my new IM channel, Inner Fetish, which you haven't subscribed to that, I liked an IM that most people don't, the Stellaris, the Moondrop Stellaris. And they're like, yeah, everyone says it's too bright and this and that. And I'm like, well, what would make a difference between what I reviewed and what other people reviewed? And I don't know. I don't watch other reviewers. That's just a thing because it would get in my brain. It would start eating away at my brain like a fucking Pac-Man. And the only thing I could think of is that I burn in everything. And that was originally because everyone would say, like, well, did you burn them in, Zeos? And I'm like, so I set up a burn-in rig, which I'm going to go over in this video. But I think that might be the only thing that's different is I've got hundreds of hours of usage on every IM and every pair of headphones. I've got stuff here right now. These got put on the burner rig yesterday. These are the new Thiodio Wraiths. The new. I've got these on it. I think these have died now. You know, these things I charge the battery and then they die. But the Bathys have been on it. So anyway, Echo, turn off burn-in rig. You see, it's very simple. A burn-in rig, I'll explain really quickly what I'm talking about here, is just something that uses your headphones or IMs. The end. That's it. Uses it. But Zeos, shouldn't it sound the best as soon as you get the box? Well, here's the thing. Some people don't believe in burn-in or break-in. There's certain items that people are fucking stupid about, like cables. Like your RCA cable doesn't need to be broken in to align the fucking electrons. Fuck you. Solid state amps. Sure, they need like maybe a slight warm-up time to get just the capacitors and things at like their nominal level, because a lot of things are designed not at room temperature but during operation, and that's fine. But that just means turn your amp on for like 4 minutes, and the odds of you actually hearing a difference between a cold start and a hot start is different. Tube amps, obviously, tubes need to be hot. And tubes, like tube amps, those things have a 3,000 hour lifespan. So when they're brand new, they sound different than when they're like 100 hours old to like 700 hours old, and then they get faded out into like the 3,000 hour mark. But moving drivers, like here in a planar, God, the Velcro on this is so fucking strong. You can't actually see it. But in a planar driver or a dynamic driver, it has to move, it has to flex. A planar especially has to like flex the entire thing. And you got to understand how small a movement that is. When you're talking about like 15,000 hertz, that means that fucking thing is moving such a fast and minute amount for 15,000 hertz that if that were to change 3%, like the actual flexibility of the membrane, that would be a big difference. So just to get shit out of the way, I always plug in every IM, every headphone. I give it on the burner rig. Now, I've got this glass shelf here protecting the Kemas. Under here, I guess it all starts with the power from my rack over there to a power strip, and I've got, if we ignore this, these two things. We've got a CASA switch, which is what turns on and off the burn-in rig. And we've got a USB charge. Tascam MH8 is what I've been using for years. I heard this in Japan for the first time. They had it a bunch. They had Yoribashi camera. Had a bunch of booths set up, all with 8 headphones apiece, all AKGs, all Sonys. Hi, Swede, go upstairs. He's hungry. And they were using these MH8s, and I'm like, I like Tascam, even though DMS calls them trash can. And it was better than the other one that was out at the time, so whatever. So I bought one, and I had it on my rack, and I was originally going to test headphones with it. Not really good enough. You spend $400 on a thing that does 8 headphones. It tends to not be good enough to do, you know, all 8 like, it's not the best headphone amp in the world, but it's a headphone amp regardless. So it is attached directly to the CASA switch because it has a big... not active, but just like clicky click on off. So if I hit this switch, or if the CASA timer, which I have this set, this is actually messed with a lot, because if I'm doing a review and if I say, Echo, turn on review time, what'll happen is that light goes out, then the other lights come on, then these lights come on, and then this burn-in rig turns off so that you don't hear music playing in the background. And then Echo, turn on reviews are done. Echo. Echo, turn on reviews are done. No. Why are you so bad? I'm just far away. I'm usually like over there. Echo, turn on reviews are done. Okay, boom. Light, regular light comes back on. Big lights go off. These lights go off. Task cam gets put back on, and it continues burning and whatever's here. Oh, and here comes the fun part. Echo, turn on basement 7. Good. So basically, all I have setting this up, I have the 8-channel amplifier here with a bunch of shit plugged into it. This is the Bathis. These are the Thiaudios. This is the, not the Stealths. Yeah, the big Dan Clark audios. The Kimas. I think this is my set. No. We got the Meze 109s here. I got a bunch of headphones plugged into it today. We've got, these are those crazy gold planars. Got a very thin wire going to these little tiny KB ears and whatever this is, the drop EPOS. So everything here is basically playing music from my Hibby R3. Here's the Hibby R3, which is what's plugged into that USB power plug. And this thing is just set to play music. Burn-in rigs, a lot of time people will run static, like just pink noise. That's if you want to do it real fast, but the problem with running pink noise constantly is you have to put in brakes because there is actual heat developed from the movement of the drivers. And if you move the driver for 15 hours straight at the absolute maximum, you got to take a break. So to avoid that situation, I just have random music on this player, which sits here and just shuffles for the last 8 months, 12 months. I don't know when I actually set this player as the source, but it's just sitting there plugged in externally and with a 3.5 to RCA into the amp, and that's it. It's constant. It's never ending. The only time I have to worry is if I have a blackout long enough to kill the battery in this, because even if I have a blackout, that'll keep playing. And that's it. It'll just keep playing, probably for 24 hours with the screen off, because it's a super efficient unit. It's getting constantly charged. And then once I'm done with reviews, or if I go to bed, like if I put on a movie and I tell it to turn off the basement lights, this shuts off because I don't want to hear it in the background. And then when I say, okay, reviews are done, or put on the basement lights, this comes on with it. So I think this is probably what separates my channel from others, is that I have this set up. I was going to move this rack to the wall here, just sort of like have the unit up here and have all the things below it. I might still do that. I actually bought plywood to like double these shelves because there's a lot of wasted space here. So I bought a sheet of plywood and had them strip it into 4 shelves, so I could just half shelf this and half shelf that, maybe over there as well, or up here, do something. But yeah, no, this is my burn-in rig. It's just a Tascam MH8. I had to draw little indicators, and then every time I plug something in, I'll put it in my ears and adjust the levels, because you have to have the volume of the thing you're burning in at above comfortable listening. It doesn't work if you just play it real quiet. Like, I have to be like, it's playing. When there's this many headphones, there's just music coming out of this area. And it does a fantastic job. And some things like I'll replace in order. So I know that this one's been on, I'll know the newest product I brought here, which is probably the Kimas. And then, so this one's got to come off. Yeah, I have to do the 109, so I could probably unplug this. So now this gets brought over to the desk. Like, all these IEMs have already been burned in. As soon as I unbox it, it comes down here, it goes in the rig. So all these are already burned in. If you've never seen my rack, a giggity. All these were burned in months and months ago when I moved into the house, and I just eventually moved them off that table to this as like the standby arena. So now that I have the IM fetish channel, I just come over here and I grab one, and I'm like, all right, you come with me. This is other equipment. So yeah, burn-in. I actually, like, even if you don't believe in it, I have people who watch you do, and I have to do this so I could say, did you burn it in? Yes. But if something like the Stellaris happens, where people are like, everyone hates it but you, This is the one deciding factor that I do. And I checked my app, because the app for the Casa, if it's an on-off switch, it'll tell you the daily average. 22.6 hours a day this runs. Because there's hours and hours at a time where I'm doing reviews or I'm watching shit where it's just off. But on average, this thing runs for 22 hours a day. And the player never stops. The player is just going to play until the player dies. Whatever 500 tracks I put on there. And they vary. There's quiet tracks that give the driver a rest, and there's heavy duty fucking Static X and Rammstein. And it just, everything plays all the time, and it breaks it. Now, if you're a consumer, if you want to do something like this, it's kind of difficult. I mean, if you go to work, then that's perfect. Because then who gives a fuck? No one's at home. Just leave your headphones playing on your amp, preferably not a tube amp, just playing for 8 hours while you're gone. 8 hours is plenty. If you sleep in a different room, you could just put this in a box and shove it in a sock drawer and close it and have it play while you sleep. Or if you get something and you enjoy it immediately out of the box, don't fucking worry about it. I don't get a headphone and I'm like, oh, I got to use this. It's my headphone. I am a reviewer. I need to know when I pick this up off the table in probably 4 or 5 days that it is broken in. Just like everyone's going to have after a month or two of using it regularly. Because I don't want to assess a headphone fresh out the box. It's like trying on a pair of jeans and going, these are a little bit stiff. You got to wear the jeans. This is basically me having someone wear 8 pairs of jeans all at once, breaking them in. This way I just have that confidence to know that this is what a used set will sound like. Not a brand new set, not if there's any qualities that like fuck it up. So everything goes through the burn-in test or the burn-in procedure. And it's just a task. I'm playing random music. I just like the fact that it, like, when I throw my lights on and off or when I go to sleep, if I say it's nighttime, if this isn't on for some reason, it's on. It just turns it back on because who gives a shit? Let it play in the basement. I've gone on vacation. I went to California. This thing just sat here playing music for 5 or 6 days. So yeah, I love my burn-in rig. I do have to charge the bathies though. I give them one more like 20-hour burst. It lasts for like 20 hours when you charge them up. And then they will play. Because that's another problem with Bluetooth headphones is I can't burn those in. So I'm sort of iffy on those. But the bathies will work if they're charged and then you unplug it. It's fucking annoying. Anyway, thank you for being on the second channel, where I can rant and rave at the moment's notice and link to the MH8. Click the link to the MH8. Don't forget, I don't know if I'm doing the sponsors on this channel. I know I have like a random retroactive sponsorship going on the other channel, which is going to be good to help pay some bills. So yeah, no, back to work, I guess. Although today I'm streaming. Check out my live streams on Twitch, Wednesdays and Sundays on Zeos Matera.